you found that when people do find your center, they're surprised that, you know, there is no stigma? They blend right in and they get the help and they feel better?
Quite honestly, in the beginning, people are somewhat reluctant, often, to admit and seek that sort of help. But once they're there, they really, for the large part, have a wonderful time. They enjoy the social activities, they enjoy the stimulation and being together, and over that hump, it becomes a very positive.
And I'm sure for the caregiver, I mean, we don't want to forget them. That is what this special is about. Like the other, like the May Volan, this is just a great break for them. But also, you know, with what you're doing there, kind of gives them a little hope, you know, because there's other people, perhaps not as old, you know, they are getting help.
Absolutely. I think the caregivers often feel they're doing something proactive,
right? And
that feels very positive to them.
And I guess, Doctor, again, a question that keeps coming up is, you know, how do I know? Will I know, you know, at, you know, the warning signs at 60, at 70? Is there a definite time when I know, okay, this is not just I'm a stressed out working person, this is an early sign of forgetting for Alzheimer's? You know, is there a definite difference?
It's a matter of degree, and so that there is no clear-cut black or white difference between being slightly forgetful, moderately forgetful, and severely affected. If frequently the patient themselves don't recognize it. It's the care provider, the person that's known you for 40 years or 50 years. They can see now differences that weren't there 2 years ago, or last year, or 6 months ago. That says, listen, something's coming on, something's more, this is more of a problem. Forgetting names much more than he or she used to.
Okay.
Asks me the same questions over and over again, even though I provided the answer, and they're not hard of hearing, and that's not a reason. Those become obvious at a certain point, but there is no black and white. Sometimes people come in, and I'm sure Denise has the same experience, they're so advanced, it's hard to tell why they waited so long. And other people come in very early. So our big push is to try and get people to come in as early as possible. If we're going to impact it, earlier the better.
And I think that another thing, it's little things. Both the women I spoke with that were caregivers said doing change, like their husband or their dad in the last story, they would go to get change and they would forget what bill they handed the cashier, so they didn't even know if they're getting the right change back.
So making change.
So it's just little things like that?
Day of the week, pass that up, oh, it just forgot the day of the week, it's no big deal. Well, it isn't any big deal if you forget the day of the week. It's when we forget the day of the week every day of the week, or 3 or 4 times a week. Yeah,
because I forget the day of the week a lot, so let's not say that's
well,
something.
We used to tell people, if they, you know, one of the ways to tell if you have the disorders, if you take your car to Publix and you go in, you shop at Publix and you come out and there's 10,000 cars there and you can't remember where your car is. Well, I used to say that, but then I had talked to my friends, and personally, I've misplaced my car on occasion.
Yeah, me too.
You park, you're preoccupied, you're not paying attention.
We don't think that's a sign, right?
No, that's not a sign.
Well, thank you both so much. We could go on and on, but it really is great information, and I hope people listening will remember there is no stigma attached to this disease, especially since research shows half of us over 85 will have it. No stigma there. Thank you both, and hopefully you've excited a few people to get the help they need. Thank you. Well, again, if you're a caregiver, this night is for you. Here's some tips. If you haven't followed them yet, please read them and start.
10 ways to be a healthy caregiver. Get diagnosis as early as possible. Know what resources are available. Become an educated caregiver. Get help. Take care of yourself. Manage your level of stress. Accept changes as they occur. Do legal and financial planning. Be realistic. Give yourself credit, not guilt.
Again, we'd like to thank our partners at Alzheimer's Association of Southeast Florida. They are manning those phone banks, and we would love more phone calls because we have about 4 more minutes left. So if you'd like the information, and also let me just tell you that you can log on to our website after the show. We will also hook you up with that number and with their information. Ellen, you're the CEO of Alzheimer's. Thank you again for joining us. And David Levy, welcome back. Again, I want to end this on a note that anyone watching, considering that they're stressed out caregivers or they're about to be, can walk away with some hope. That's just, you know, gives them a better night. David, what is your tip on if you think you are just not doing a good job, how do you do a better job at caregiving for both you and your loved one?
You get some education. You go to a support group, you go to a facility like May Volin, and you seek out resources in the community. You need some help and guidance in doing that, but I would say that the real positive thing is we're getting a real good handle on caregivers across the spectrum, not only Alzheimer's and dementia, but every other kind of disease as well as aging. And we're seeing tremendously positive results out of caregiver education, caregiver training, and caregiver support.
And will there be more support from groups like yours? The you know, we have a lot of Alzheimer's groups in our county. You just happen to be the one we're highlighting tonight. But will there be more support for caregivers, more groups, more respite chances funded through nonprofits like yours?
That's certainly the hope and the need. The numbers of people we predict will be dealing with this disease, as you know, are huge. 10 million baby boomers are predicted to get Alzheimer's disease. So there's definitely a need for more of those programs, certainly for programs that keep people within the community. That's what we advocate for. That's what we're looking to accomplish.
Okay. Well, you guys have both been great helps. All the information, again, David, your link will be on our website. The Alzheimer's Association, I want to remind you, the phone bank will be up a few more minutes even after we go off the air. You can call that number and they will send you the information or guide you to where you can get the right information, whether you're a victim or a caregiver. David, if they want a class, if they want to get education, is it costly or are there free resources out there somewhere?
Well, at May Volin, we've been doing it pro bono. All our support groups are available. You just have to come and be there. We've opened a school for caregiving.
Oh, that's great.
And there may be some higher levels of education that may take some dollars, but as far as the children of adult family members, etc., they will all be available to them at no cost.
And Ellen, have you found, I know a lot of the people in our studio watching right over here and a lot of on the phone banks are caregivers themselves, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Have you seen a caregiver just come in just, you know, stressed out at the end of their rope, get involved, and that involvement, as I think Diane said in the beginning of our show, really helped them along the path of caregiving?
Very much so. You know, there's a feeling in the part of many caregivers of being somewhat powerless in this disease, and doing something to help, getting involved, advocating, volunteering, doing any of those things helps that person to feel that they're making a difference, and it does empower them a lot.
And I want to end on the note that not only can the caregivers be volunteers, David volunteers so much of his time, and you can be a volunteer. So right now, if you're not facing caregiving or taking care of someone with any disease, how about giving the Alzheimer's Association a call? The number is on your screen. We'll go right to our phone bank. I should have mentioned this earlier. You can also volunteer. You don't just have to get information. You can actually help. Thank you for joining us, and a special thank you to Ellen May from the Alzheimer's Association of Southeast Florida, without whom this show could not have been on the air, and all our partners and all the people that let us into their lives. We wish you all the best. Thank you for joining us.